This is the weekly energy reading for March 15th through March 21st, guided by the I Ching and the Tao Te Ching. Some truths arrive quietly, others arrive with heat. This week is not only about what becomes visible, it is about whether clarity can be carried with enough grace to last. Last Sunday opened with Hexagram 19, changing at line 2 to Hexagram 24, approach moving toward return. The week did not move through force. It moved through progression. At first, the energy focused on protection. What was real needed structure. What was unnecessary needed limits. From there, power softened, not weakened, softened. The week asked for early correction. Small adjustments mattered more than dramatic action. Restraint did more than pressure could. Then steadiness became important. Timing became important. Simplicity became important. By the end of the week, the energy had clarified into perspective. That is what 19 moving to 24 revealed in lived form. Approach did not mean rushing forward. It meant coming closer with sincerity. Return did not mean going backward. It meant coming back to what is true. The deeper pattern was clear. First protect what is real, then release the grip. Correct early. Hold steady. Wait. Refine. Then see. That was the ground the week created, not conquest. Governance. And that is the ground we step from now. This week opens with Hexagram 30, changing at line 4 to Hexagram 22. The clinging, fire moving toward grace. Hexagram 30 is illumination. Fire does not create truth. It reveals it. It sharpens perception. It makes what was once vague harder to ignore. This is a week where something becomes clear. Not all at once, not always comfortably, but unmistakably. The clinging is not only about light. It is also about what the light depends on. Fire must be fed correctly. If it is not tended well, it burns too quickly, too brightly, or not at all. That matters here. Because this week is not only about seeing clearly, it is about how that clarity is sustained. What are you feeding? What are you strengthening? What are you keeping alive through attention? Hexagram 30 asks for inner brightness, but it also asks for right attachment. Cling to what is true. Cling to what is correct. Cling to what can hold the light without distorting it. Then comes line 4. This is the volatile point. The image is often a sudden flare, a burst of fire, a bright intensity that rises quickly and can just as quickly consume itself. This line warns against excess intensity. A realization may come in strongly. An emotion may rise with force. A truth may feel so clear that the impulse is to express it immediately and completely. But fire at this line can exceed its proper measure. What is seen clearly can be overhandled. What is felt honestly can be overexpressed. What begins as illumination can become exhaustion if it is not brought back into proportion. This is not a warning against truth. It is a warning about heat. When clarity arrives, the system often wants to move with it. Name it, act on it, resolve it, display it. But not every bright moment is meant to become an event. Sometimes the work is simply to witness what has become visible without trying to force completion. That is why this line changes to Hexagram 22, grace. Grace is not surface beauty. It is form in right proportion. It is the shaping of expression so that what is essential can be received. Grace does not deny the fire. It disciplines it. It does not cover truth. It carries truth in a way that does not overwhelm the field. This movement from 30 to 22 is not a retreat from illumination. It is refinement of illumination. What has become clear now asks for gentleness in expression. What has become visible asks for form. What has become emotionally charged asks for measure and restraint. This week does not ask you to dim the light. It asks you to tend it. Not every insight needs immediate action. Not every realization needs full disclosure. Not every strong feeling needs to become a strong performance. Fire shaped by grace becomes warmth. Fire without proportion becomes damage. So the question of the week is not whether something is becoming visible. It is whether you can let it be seen without burning through the moment. The deeper reflection for this week comes from chapter 67 of the Tao Te Ching. Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty but impractical. But to those who have looked inside themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. Simple in actions and in thoughts. You return to the source of being, patient with both friends and enemies. You accord with the way things are, compassionate toward yourself. You reconcile all beings in the world. This chapter does not praise brilliance for its own sake. It praises what can hold power without distortion. That is why it fits this week so well. Hexagram 30 brings fire, clarity, visibility, intensity. Line 4 warns that intensity can rise too quickly. A flare can become too much. What begins as illumination can become overexpression. Then the movement changes to Hexagram 22, grace, form, proportion. Chapter 67 tells us how that refinement happens, not by dimming what is true, by tempering it through the 3 treasures: simplicity, patience, compassion. Simplicity removes excess. It keeps clarity from turning into performance. It keeps truth from being crowded by unnecessary explanation. Patience slows the impulse to act too quickly. It allows fire to become warmth instead of damage. It allows what is visible to settle before it is forced into action. Compassion changes how truth is carried. Without compassion, clarity can become harsh. Without compassion, honesty can become a weapon. But compassion softens the field without weakening the truth. This is the deeper work of the week. Not whether something is seen, but how it is held once it is seen. Not whether light is present, but whether that light can remain human. Chapter 67 calls these qualities treasures because they preserve what is essential. They keep insight from becoming ego. They keep intensity from becoming injury. They keep visibility from becoming spectacle. This week does not ask for a brighter fire. It asks for a wiser one, simple enough to stay true, patient enough to stay grounded, compassionate enough to remain in right relationship with what is being revealed. That is how illumination becomes grace. That is how truth becomes bearable. And that is how power is carried without losing its center.